Hey, good evening. Happy Thursday. Kelly Dunlap here, health, wellness, beauty, and fat loss coach. We are going to talk about insulin. It's a confusing thing, but we're going to get through this. Okay, I've got lots of notes. And we are going to get through this. Look at this. Pages and pages of information. The funny thing, you would think that I love being a student now, and you would think that I liked being a student when I was in school. Not so much. Probably because it had nothing to do with the body, you know, like I love everything that has to do with science and the body and all that other stuff. So when I was in high school, I wasn't a very good student. I was a good student when it came to socializing and all that stuff, but that's about it. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Thank you for taking the time, and most people I know like to watch the replay, which is awesome. I also put these videos on YouTube, so if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go to my YouTube. There are also workout videos on there of mine. There's over 40 of them. There's some uplifting videos in there as well, and some beauty tutorials, so it's a little bit of everything, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about insulin and the fact that it's oftentimes a misunderstood hormone, okay? So because it can be your best friend, but it can also be your worst enemy. And people don't realize that insulin can work for you, but all people hear, just like with anything in life, right? People want about the bad stuff. But there's so much scientific stuff that people, they just kind of cherry pick what they want to believe and what they want to read and all that stuff. So this is why I feel it's an obligation for me to share any information and insight that I can to help you as much as I possibly can, because there are so many misconceptions, especially when it comes to your diet, your health, and your well-being. Okay. So once again, you know that when I have a very scientific topic, I have lots of notes, and oftentimes you'll see me kind of doing a little bit of reading, but there's really no way around it because I don't want to miss anything, and I don't want to misinterpret anything either. Okay. All right. So insulin functions like your hands when you are eating. Okay. Now what I mean by that is it would be very difficult to eat without your hands. So what I mean by this is insulin feeds your tissues. Okay, so it feeds the tissues of the body in the same way that we use our hands to eat. Make sense? All right. Without insulin, your cells would starve and die. Okay? Insulin is made in the pancreas and is released into the bloodstream in response to food. Okay, so this is why you hear me talk a lot about your hormonal responses, the food that you're eating on a cellular level. And if you are a student of mine, if we have that coach-student relationship, this is what we do together, is we figure out what foods respond to you in a good hormonal way, in a good cellular way, right? Okay. So it basically assures that nutrients get into the cell, okay? So insulin's primary job is to make sure the cells have enough glucose, okay? Excuse me. And it also has a strong impact on your blood sugar, and that's pretty much all you ever hear about. You know, you'll hear people say, oh yeah, I gotta watch my insulin levels. And they don't really understand why. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just kind of spit out this, like I said, they cherry pick information. Sally Sue said, yeah, I heard that insulin causes me to get fat, and lottie schmighty dotty. And then they, you know, so that's why you got to be very careful where you get your resources from. All right. Now, glucose is the primary stimulator of insulin release. Okay. Do you understand that? So when you eat glucose, that is really what gets that motor running, all right? In response to food and or stress, do you hear me? Stress, which is a huge part of my program, is stress management, okay, because most people are stressed out and they're not doing anything to manage it, blood glucose levels will rise. Okay, so kind of just take all this in because this is all going to make sense in a little bit. Just give me some time, okay? Insulin is used to lower blood sugar and balance things out, okay? Okay, does that make sense? Kinda, I hope. All right. Now let's talk about insulin resistance. There's 1 out of 3 people in this world, I believe, is what the statistic is that I had seen. It was very high, and it was mind-blowing to me. How many people are insulin resistant? It's scary. It's absolutely scary. So, insulin works by increasing the amount of glucose receptors in the membrane of cells. Now, let's talk about those receptors again, and let's talk about the membrane. Science class here, get your glasses on. If you watched my live the other day, you heard me talk about your membrane, your cell membrane, which is so important. Your cell membrane needs to be fluid, okay? And there's receptors. Visualize your swimming pool, okay? Like every time I look at my swimming pool and I see a raft floating around, I think of a cell membrane, and those rafts are the receptors. And those receptors need to move around freely so they can communicate, okay, with the hormones. If your diet is such and it's filled with like hydrogenated oils and Crisco's and garbage food, your membrane is going to be muddy and Crisco-y and thick, and nothing is going to be able to communicate. Okay, so that's huge. Now, when insulin interacts with cellular physiology, it results in an increased ability for the cell to take in glucose. So this is why you have to have this communication, this cellular membrane, in a state where it has good communication with your hormones. Does that make sense? Try to follow me. I hope I don't lose you. But I get it if I do. Because listen, I understand that there are some people that just say, just tell me what the fuck to do. I don't want to hear all this shit. But there are some people like me that likes to know and understand why. I want to know why. Just kind of like when I was diagnosed with my thyroid. Well, why? Why did my thyroid do that? Why is my body doing this? What is going on in my life or in my lifestyle that my body decided to do this? I want to know why. I want to know the back end. Kind of like websites. Some people pay people to build their website. I go in there and I watch YouTube tutorials and I figure it out and I build it myself because I want to know how and the whys, right? Okay. When insulin is repeatedly secreted, now listen to me on this. When insulin is repeatedly secreted in large quantities over time, the cells become less sensitive to its message. Now hear me on this, okay? I'm gonna give you a little analogy. Have you ever walked into somebody's house or a grocery store or a restaurant and you're like, woo, that smell. Oh, you know, or, ooh, that smell, it smells so good. Good or bad, right? But that smell at first is very powerful. But the longer that you are in it, it goes away. So that's the same type of concept when it comes to insulin resistance. When it's around, it's almost like, oh, I don't even know it's here. Do you see what I'm saying? You get me? You following me on this? When something is around in abundance over and over and over and over again, it's not going to be received. It becomes null, you know, like, I don't even know you're here, okay? Colin, I don't need you in the background, honey. I can't concentrate.
Oh, you can see me?
But I can hear you. Okay, so think of that. Think of that smell, whether it be a good or a bad smell. And to me, it's kind of like a bad smell is what I think in my mind. You know, I'm like, you're like this, like, oh my God, don't they smell this? Like, what the hell, right? Okay, so this is what happens to the cells when they become insulin resistant. it has a huge impact on cellular energy and health. Colin,
I'm sorry.
you cannot be back there. Go.
Okay, I'll go this way.
Sorry about that. I got dogs back there, my kid back there. Not cool. Not cool, man. Okay, so now, I hope you guys are following me here. Now we're going to talk about the liver, because the liver plays a huge part in this. Huge, okay? Why? Because insulin signals the liver to increase its production of glycogen, which is the body's source of stored sugar. Does that make sense? The liver is a huge part of this, you guys, okay? So, it also suppresses the liver's capacity to make new sugar. I know this is getting kind of tricky, okay? When the liver loses its ability to sense and respond to insulin, this results in decreased sugar storage, hear me out on this, and an overproduction of glucose by the body. Okay, you follow me here? So, this results in the body doing the only thing it can do to balance things out, which is store all that sugar as fat. That, my friends, is what I was getting at with all that background. Okay? Like, really? Like, oh my God, okay? So people are eating just way too much garbage. You know, they're creating this. Some of it is DNA. Some of it is stress related though. Some of it is, it's your lifestyle. It's the shit you're eating. It's the way you're conducting your life. It's the lack of stress management. There's so many things that you can take the bull by the horns and you can control this stuff. You don't play the victim. Be the person that's in charge, okay? Don't let your doctor just say, here, take this pill. That's not good enough. That's not good enough for me. I want to be able to understand why, what am I doing, how can I fix this, and I want this gone, because you can make this go away. And I'm going to tell you a little bit on how you can do that. Okay, so it's important to understand that insulin resistance it's not an all or nothing thing. And what I mean by that is that you might have some tissues that remain sensitive while others lose their response. Colin, I'm not going to tell you again.
Okay.
Now I'm pissed. Sorry about that. I hate that. I don't like to tell people something more than once, especially when it comes to my kid. Okay, so some tissues can remain sensitive while others lose their sensitivities, okay? Make sense? Okay. But just know that when the liver loses its ability to sense and respond to the insulin, it creates the most problems for your metabolic fat burning, period, end of story. Okay, so for body change, you need enough insulin to build some muscle. Remember I said that insulin can be your BFF, but it could also be your worst enemy, okay? But insulin does help you build muscle, okay? But not so much where you store the fat. So this is another one of those tipping points that I talk about. You know, I talk about how that carb tipping point, you know, so, and this is really it, actually, because I don't want you eating a certain amount of starchy, sugary foods that are going to tip you over into this fat storing mode, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so rather than trying to lower insulin to like these extremely low levels and possibly losing muscle in the process, which you do not want to do, okay? It is far better to maximize the sensitivity. Excuse my indigestion. She's got me like, oh my God. I hope that wives' tale is true, that if you have a lot of indigestion and heartburn, that the baby has a lot of hair. So fingers crossed on that. Okay, so here we go. How is the best way for you to get sensitive to insulin again? It's through exercise. And it's not through, okay, Exercise, you got it. I'm going to do cardio just like everybody wants to. No, okay, it's not all about the cardio. Is cardio important? Absolutely. But how you need to get sensitive again is actually through some kick-ass weight training, okay? So, why? Okay, so exercise, okay, and why? Because muscle contractions, that's a contraction, right? If I have a heavy weight that I'm doing or heavy weights that I'm lifting, okay, so because muscle contractions increase the number of glucose receptors on the cell surfaces. Through contraction-induced mechanics, the cell can get fed the increase the glucose storage. Does that make sense? I hope I read that right. Okay. I was getting my feet down and I'm writing all this stuff down. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I should write this down. Okay, so let me just say this again. Weight training, because muscle contractions increase the number of glucose receptors on the cell surfaces. Receptors, remember I was talking about the rafts in my pool. Okay? Through contraction-induced mechanisms, the cell can get fed. Okay, remember we said insulin feeds the cells. Increase the glycogen storage and retain or even gain lean muscle tone, which is what you want. Everybody wants muscle tone. There are some people that want to be bodybuilders and all that other stuff, and that's just a whole other, that's not even my clientele base, and that is not you, because if that was you, you wouldn't be in this group. You are people that want to know how to lean out, feel good, have more energy. You want to lose the body fat. You want to be the best version of yourself. You're not here to learn how to bodybuild, okay? So, to get a little bit more specific on the exercise, what type of exercise? Weight training, heavy. And do not be afraid of heavy weights, people. Do not ever be afraid. Don't be that girl. Please, don't be that girl. Oh, I don't want to bulk up. You're not, okay? You're not going to bulk up. Trust me. You will not bulk up. So, you need to do heavy weights and sprinting activities. Okay? Now, mind you, there is an importance and a time and a place for steady state cardio. Absolutely. And you've heard me talk about that, about burning the fat, blah, blah, blah. But this is a protocol I am talking about making you more insulin sensitive. Okay? This is if you are insulin resistant. All right? So, this is what people need to do. You have to have a plan, okay? You must combine an understanding, like I said before, of how food impacts insulin and resistance training, okay? So, you have to understand that the food that you're eating, how it's affecting you on a cellular level. How is it affecting your hormones? Is it causing you to store fat? Is it helping you to lose weight? Is it increasing your sensitivity to insulin? Is it making you more insulin resistant? So I really wish there really should be so much more education on this. People, weight loss is not a calculator. And so many people live their life in that way. They think, all you have to do is just reduce these calories and blah, blah, blah. And that's not how it works at all. But if people understood, this is my job to help you understand this. This is why I believe in this certification that I got so much. When I came across it, I was like, oh my God, yes! And that is why I created the Metabolism Reboot Academy, so that I can help people change their lives by understanding this concept. Because it can't happen just by a 20-minute live with you in my Facebook group. People need help, and they need serious help because they don't know where to go. They don't know who to see. They don't know whatever. If they go to a doctor, they're just going to say, here, take this pill, take that pill. Yeah, whatever, see you in a month. You know what I'm saying? So I know this because I was that person. You know, I get it. I've been through all of it. I've been on tons of medication before. I've been there, done that. So here's the thing. We want fat loss in this group. I know this, okay? Sugars when you want fat loss, you have to reduce your sugars and starches. Period. End of story. And most of the time, people don't know what the hell a starch is, or what a sugar is, or what a good carbohydrate is, and all of that stuff. They're like, oh, I just, yeah, I have this and I have that. And I'm like, you're eating way too many starches. Hence the reason why you're having troubles losing weight. You see what I'm saying? So sugars and starches need to be minimized. Both, and let's talk about your workouts. There is this misconception, and I get this question all the time. I get messages all the time from people. What should I eat before I work out? What should I eat after I work out? Should I be doing something during a workout? What do I eat? I don't know what to eat. Okay? People think, oh, okay, I have to eat this banana and I got to have all these simple carbs after my workout, blah, 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 blah. If you want fat loss, you don't eat right after your workout, people. Don't go to that shake shop. Don't go to the gym's juice bar. I'm telling you, you're going to ruin it. You're going to ruin your success. I don't want to say goals, because goals can be distracting. Goals, we can do a whole live on this too, but goals a lot of times create self-defeating loops. So I like to train people's mindset more so on following your purpose. And what is the purpose of why you want to lose weight? What is the purpose of wanting to do the exercises and get, more insulin sensitive? The purpose is what keeps you going. Goals, a lot of times people, they give up, and then they get that self-defeating loop, and then they feel guilt, and it's just a whole big yucky process. So anyway, here's the deal. What you eat and when you eat, the timing is huge, especially when it comes to your workouts, whether you're trying to lose fat, if you're trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to do a little bit of both. And that is where people get confused, and that is where it can get complicated, okay? So that is science class for today. I hope that made sense to you. I know that can be a tricky one. And there are so many people that suffer from this and may not even know it. It's really a big deal. So I want to once again let you know that I'm launching my Metabolism Reboot Academy on August 1st. I'm currently in the middle of one right now. We're in our 4th week. Next week is our last week. And I'm accepting signups through the 28th, and then we get started on the 1st, and I'm so excited. I have a great group of ladies already that have already signed up and are continuing to sign up. You still have the opportunity to get in on the early bird rate. If you are interested at all, finding out any more information, just go to the metabolismrebootacademy.com. You can request a discovery call with me, and that will just take you through this questionnaire, and then I will get it, and then I'll set up the call. There's no obligation, okay? We'll just kind of talk about what your needs are. I'll find out what they are from that questionnaire. And then there's also a tab 2 where I'm trying to think how I set it up there. I thought I put another tab for that. Oh, there is a tab 2 if you're just like, you know what? I need this. I need to just get set up. You can click on it and get your early bird rate, and that goes through the 23rd, okay? After the 23rd, the prices change just slightly, hence the reason why I call it early bird, because early birds get the worm, and they get a little discount. So I hope that helped. Please give me a 1 if you got value out of that. Give me a 2 if you're kind of like, my head is spinning, I don't get it, hey, I'm lost, okay? I need feedback, because I hope that the way that I put these things together for you, that I can help you. If it gets to be too scientific for you, which I really do try to keep that science down to a minimum as much as I possibly can, but I think a lot of times when it comes to this sort of thing and a lot of things in life, that it's 70 times 7,000, that you cannot hear something enough. You just cannot hear something enough. And sometimes it takes 70 times 7,000 for somebody to really grasp and understand it. So maybe rewatch this again, and maybe you might have to go back and say, wait, what did she just say? Oh, now I get it. Sometimes you have to do that, and that is okay. Okay. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to hearing your feedback. Let me know if we have any questions. And I will see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.